Hey, what is up guys? It is Slikk here. I'm back again with another video. In this one, we're talking about whether or not WB Games Montreal's Batman video game is going to be an Arkham game or some other Batman game. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm not really concerned about Nomer. And what I mean by that is I don't really care if the game is related to the Arkhamverse such that it is canon, it plays like an Arkham game, and it follows the story of Batman Arkham Knight. I don't really care whether they call it an Arkham game or not. If it's canon, then for all intents and purposes, for my purposes, it's an Arkham game. However, I will explain to you towards the end of the video why I think personally it definitely is a Batman Arkham game, and moreover, why I think it will be called a Batman Arkham game that we'll be playing from WB Games Montreal, likely in 2017. First, though, I want to give you the concrete evidence. So I'm going to save my opinion for later. I just want to show you the facts of what we know, and I want to talk about a comment that Mr. Jag made. So Mr. Jag, a fellow Batman Arkham YouTuber, yesterday on my video commented something that I thought was really interesting, talking about the code. Of course, Mr. Jag is a modder. He mods Batman Arkham games, and he's very familiar with the code of the game. So in my video yesterday, he commented this. First of all, he said, got enough windows open, because I had all those Guy Azzo pages open for all the pictures, and I'll be breaking that down in a video tomorrow. But he responds here, also, I see at 322, the frame you see on your screen right now, the words skeletal mesh and static mesh and idle config per size. These are used with the current Arkham game character models. So I inquired further, and I'm like, does this mean that they're copying the models from the other games? And does this really confirm that there's an Arkham game? That what they're making is an Arkham game and the Arkham engine. And he responds, what it likely means is that the engine will be the same as the current Arkham games, and in essence, it's going to be identical to an Arkham game in the way that it plays. So this is really exciting for me, as somebody that did want it to be an Arkham game. This evidence only is compounded by the fact that we saw yesterday the game dev that had their screenshot, not the one with the explicit words along the top that I'm not going to repeat, but the other one, we saw in the bottom right hand corner the date that the game is being edited. So the person that was making Gotham City was doing so in September of 2015, which we concluded in my other video that that is after the release of the Batgirl DLC. That is most certainly the current Batman game they're working on. And we also realized that in the top left-hand corner, he was in the Batman game engine. So he was editing this new map in the Batman Arkham game editor. So, you know, this is all compounded, again, by the evidence I just showed you, where Mr. Jag is essentially confirming that the character models and the code for this game is going to be pretty much identical to what we have in the other Arkham games. And seeing that WB Games Montreal worked on the previous Batman Arkham games, it would make sense that they would be reusing some of that code. So some people are going to interpret that as a negative thing, like, oh, they're being lazy and copying the character models. As somebody that wants it to be an Arkham game, I take it as a positive thing that, well, let's be honest here. If they're creating the game in the Batman Arkham engine, if they're reusing the same character models and code from the other Batman Arkham games, even if they don't call it a Batman Arkham game, in what way is it not an Arkham game? Okay, so the code is the same, the game design's the same, they're using Unreal Engine. Now, they are using Unreal Engine 4, okay, so not Unreal Engine 3, and I hope that the graphics are going to be better than what we saw in Batman Return to Arkham, which was sort of like a copy and paste from 3 to 4, so I think building the game from the ground up in Unreal Engine 4 is really going to reap the benefits of what that system can bring. But now we'll get into my opinion, okay, and what I think it should be, and why I think that this game unequivocally is a Batman Arkham game. Excluding all the facts I just showed you, let's just talk about it from a narrative perspective. Let me ask you this. How many of you guys, after Batman Arkham Knight came out, said to yourself or to your friend or internally, I would like another Batman game? Rhetorically speaking. You know, if another Batman game were to come out, I would buy it. You know, and I want to play another Batman game. Chances are, knowing the demographic of this channel, the likelihood of that is probably 95% of you would say something like that. And maybe some people would be disgruntled over the Arkham Knight DLC. I remember I said, I think at one point, that I would never buy another Arkham game because of the DLC. You know, I realize that's not so much true now. I was very upset at that point. But anyway, is it or not? You know, it's true that most of us would want to play another Batman game. And indeed, we're getting it. Okay, so let me ask you the second question. How many of you were so sick of Bruce Wayne that you were dying that a developer have a different character be Batman? I think it's going to be a much smaller portion of you say that. Not to say that some people wouldn't enjoy seeing another person play Batman, such as Terry McGinnis or Dick Grayson. Really, the only two I can consider would be insanely popular among people. But what we see here is a move that only really we can rationalize and makes perfect sense within the Arkhamverse. If we think about the leaks that we've gotten thus far about this game, many of which have been reaffirmed by the videos that were officially posted to their Facebook page yesterday. We have a game, open world. Batman is Damian Wayne, Batcycle instead of Batmobile. Takes place over multiple days and nights, that sort of thing. So a really enticing, game pitch in my personal opinion. And consider the fact that why in the world, why in God's name would they make a Batman game without Bruce Wayne leading the helm as Batman if it was not subservient to another Batman game? If it was not subservient to the Arkham canon, where Bruce Wayne does retire as Batman and becomes the freaky Bat thing, and he doesn't die, we know this, and there's tons of videos explaining the ending of Batman Arkham Knight, and you can check that out online if you do think he died, because he most certainly didn't, which explains why Bruce Wayne is in this game as an older mentor for Damian. It makes sense what we've learned. It's not in the far distant future, but it's in the future. So we have Damian Wayne, it sounds like 20 to 30 years. Bruce Wayne's not like 90, but he's old. This isn't Batman Beyond, but it's Batman Beyond-esque. It takes place in the future, most certainly. You have Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson likely in the mix. To what degree, I don't know. Of course, Barbara Gordon is Oracle, and maybe Dick Grayson is somebody else. I don't know. Why would they make a non-Bruce Wayne Batman game, risk, hundreds of millions of dollars on a game that might flop, if it were not to follow up the Arkhamverse? So, they're definitely risking the fact that Bruce Wayne isn't Batman, and that's going to discourage people. People are like, I'm not playing that. But you compromise with the fact that it's an Arkham game, commercially speaking. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about why would they make a Damian Wayne Batman game unless it were to follow up the fact that Bruce Wayne isn't Batman anymore, and somebody else has to fill the shoes. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm making a Batman game, Bruce Wayne's going to be Batman. But since it follows up Batman Arkham Knight, and knowing what happens in Batman Arkham Knight, it makes perfect sense. It really does. And I hope that that is the case because, on one front, Damian Wayne is underdeveloped in the Arkhamverse, so I understand that perspective of it. But from the other perspective, I really do think that they could make an incredible story, and Bruce Wayne went through so much in the Arkhamverse, and he can really carry that on and teach that to Damian Wayne and the lessons he learned from those games and from those experiences. And the Arkhamverse is so rich and so popular commercially, but so rich with lore and history that I think that it would certainly be the best option for them to continue that. And again, I just can't wrap my mind around a game where Bruce Wayne isn't Batman just for lulz, you know what I mean? Like, just for no reason other than to follow up Batman Arkham Knight. It makes perfect sense. And I do think this game's going to be a sequel to Batman Arkham Knight. It won't be called Batman Arkham Knight 2, but it will, follow it up chronologically, much as Batman Arkham Knight follows Arkham City. I do think that's the case for this game. I think that the evidence that we've seen and the fact that the game is being edited and created in the game editor and also is using identical code from the other Arkham games reaffirms that. But just from where I'm sitting, I can't rationalize why they would do that. So that's just my thought on it. I think that Bruce Wayne's going to be older in this game, probably 60 or 70. He's going to be mentoring Damian Wayne, and I think that Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson and Tim Drake are going to be in the mix as well. I think Killer Croc's going to be in the game from the whiteboard that we saw from the WB Games Facebook page. I know of other villains in the game as well. You can check a video, just type in new Batman game villains. Mine should pop up, and you can learn a little bit more about that. The Judge is Two-Face, for instance. So, I think it's really exciting what they're doing with this game. I can't wait to see it. I'll make a video very shortly talking about when we may see the game in a reveal. Some evidence has suggested, or some people have theorized, we may get the reveal on Monday, and I'll explain that, and I'm not sure about that, and I've been speculating we're going to be getting the game for a long time now, and my guesses have not come true this far. So what do I know? But we're going to speculate on it. I'll dig into it a little bit. Because they are sharing on Facebook that they're going to certain events, and that's promising for us. So, anyway, guys, hope you'll have enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. 2 questions. The first one, do you want this game to be an Arkham game? Do you want it to exist within the Arkhamverse? Damian Wayne is succeeding his father, Bruce Wayne. Or do you want it to be in a separate universe? And it's totally unrelated to the Arkham games. Fresh new takes on these characters, and they can take some liberties with them. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for sticking around. Comment peanut butter if you made it this far, and we'll see you guys in the next video. By the way, before I go, I have created a Discord server. What Discord is a way that you guys can communicate with me. It's free. I'm not sponsored by it. I'm sounding like it's an ad right now. It's not. Basically, it's like Skype, but I can't get DDoSed from it, so it's nice. So I tried to add people on Skype, but I just, you just got to be careful with that stuff. So I have Discord. And Discord, essentially what happens is you guys can join in on my Discord server and chat with me. It's voice chat, but you can also text if you don't want to talk to me on voice. And I'm in there pretty often. I just created the server the other day. I've already had a ton of people join. Super awesome way to communicate. I can talk about, give you insight on the videos I've got coming up. Also, we can just chat and stuff like that. I was earlier today playing with some subscribers that joined in from Twitter, that follow me on Twitter and saw I post up the Discord, joined in, and they asked me if I want to play Rocket League. Sure. So that sort of thing. So if you guys have Call of Duty or any of the other games and you want to communicate with me and play with me, that's the best way to reach me on there, and we can just voice chat and we can play. So yeah, once this video's up, then we'll do that. So check the link in the description below. I'll try to make the link permanent so it won't change on you. And come join that. That should be a lot of fun, and we can chat in there about DC and Marvel and other video games, stuff like that. It could be a lot of fun, but it doesn't have to be related to that. Also, other video games we can play. Okay, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up. We'll see you in the next one.